Welcome to 7 Tips in 7 Days. This is day 6, Self Attunement. My name is Candace Whitman, and I am the owner of Wild Moon Counseling. On day 6, we're going to add in an essential step to the recovery process. This step will add to our understanding of how trauma impacts us as children and what we can do to undo the harm. We'll explore even more about why the lessons we've learned already on breathing, creating feelings of safety, getting grounded, practicing mindfulness, and self care work in creating the foundation for long term recovery. We're going to start by talking about the developmental process of understanding emotions and experiences. Children are born without the ability to understand their experiences and emotions. While they are certainly having these experiences and emotions, there's no way for infants to know what they are feeling or how to express it. As infants, our right brain develops much sooner than our left brain, which means we have the feelings without an ability to analyze those feelings. As the left brain develops, caretakers teach children how to understand what they are experiencing and how to cope with those experiences. In order to teach children, caretakers must be attuned to the children. They must be present and aware to understand what the child is feeling and experiencing. When they are attuned accurately, they can teach the children language and understanding about what is happening and what to do about it. A caretaker teaches a child that the feeling they have is hunger, and they teach the child to cope with hunger by eating. When a child is tired, they teach the child how to soothe themselves by rocking, singing, etc., to fall asleep. If a child is scared and the caretaker is attuned and aware that the child is feeling scared, the caretaker can teach the child to feel comforted and safe. For people who grew up in unhealthy, abusive, or neglectful environments, however, they didn't have the experience of someone being accurately attuned to their experiences or needs. This is why people who grew up in this way often question their own experiences. They struggle with understanding what they are feeling, and they often don't know what to do to feel better. Although it is most beneficial to have a caretaker attuned during infancy and young childhood, experiencing attunement in adulthood still has its benefits. Having another person to accurately reflect and mirror back our experiences can be incredibly healing. The validation that comes from that can feel overwhelming and difficult to trust. But eventually, it actually changes the way the brain operates. Essentially, it's rewiring the brain. Having a good friend, partner, or therapist you can trust can do that for you. The good news is you don't have to wait to rely on finding someone trustworthy to help you rewire your brain, however. Recent studies have shown that becoming attuned to oneself impacts the brain in the same way. Essentially, learning to be present, aware, reflect back to yourself, and validate your experiences and emotions teaches your brain to rewire itself. This information brings so much hope because it means we can actually heal ourselves, and that can feel really empowering. So now that we know what self attunement is and why we'd want to do it, we need to figure out how to become attuned to self. The first step is to slow down and notice. Get curious about your thoughts, your emotions, your physical sensations, etc. Just notice without trying to fix it or change it. Just slow down and pay attention. You can learn to do this through a regular mindful practice, as we talked about earlier this week. Mindfulness is definitely the foundation to becoming attuned to self. Adding in a journal routine or some way to reflect outside of the thoughts in your head is another important step. For me, the sweet spot is daily meditation, daily journal entries, and a good support system where I can watch as others go through their process of understanding themselves and also get mirrors from those around me who I trust. Now, remember, the process of adding in this daily routine of mindfulness and journal was covered in day 5. So, if you need a refresher, go back to day 5 and watch how the best way to implement those into your daily routine. So, what's your sweet spot for finding self attunement? The only way you're going to know is to try out different approaches and practice. Now, as day 6 comes to an end and we are getting close to being done with your 7 tips, stay tuned for the final day where we talk about tips for creating a healthy support system for your long term healing. Thanks so much for tuning in to 7 Tips in 7 Days. Again, my name is Candace Whitman, and I'm the owner of Wild Moon Counseling. If you have any questions, you can send me an email at candace@wildmooncounseling.com. Have a great evening and stay tuned for tomorrow's lesson.